will go ahead and get started now. Hopefully, you can all see my screen where it says "Fundraising Made Easy." Yeah, somebody just give me a good thumbs up to make sure that I got the right page on there. Wonderful, wonderful. So thanks everybody for joining in. Like I said, I'm Jonathan with the Tour de Trees and with Tree Fund, and then also joining us today to help present is Ben Rickenbacker out in Colorado and Laurie Skull out in Ohio. Ben, you've been doing the tour for how many years?
This will be my 8th year.
Eighth year, and Laurie, you're up to, you said 13?
Yep, 13.
13. So lots of wonderful experience that we have helping everybody out here. Like I said, we got a whole bunch of new folks on here, so welcome to everybody. Hopefully we'll make this a nice welcoming environment, and hopefully you can learn something as we get these last couple of weeks in here before the tour comes out to help with any kind of last minute fundraising stuff and answer any other questions that you might have as well. So we're the way we're going to do this is we'll go through a couple of slides. We'll just we'll present, but we're kind of thinking that we want to do this kind of like a roundtable type thing, where if you ever have any thoughts or anything, just go ahead and either hit the wave button on your Teams there so we can see it and we can call on you, or if you got any other thoughts, you can go ahead and try to put them in the chat. We can try to answer them that way too. But just make it a nice, just kind of welcoming, not so what you call it, not so strict of an environment here. So we're going to talk a little bit about fundraising today for the Tour de Trees for these last couple of weeks before the tour comes off. I know that there's an awful lot of information on the website, on the Tree Fund site, on the participant resources page. There's a lot to go through, and especially for some of you first-time riders, might be a little bit overwhelming, and that's okay. There's a lot of stuff with the tour that as you're prepping for everything, I know it can be overwhelming, but we have almost 100 riders this year that are actually coming out, and there's about 80 of them that are veterans that have been out there before, that know the ropes, and they're always more than welcome to help out new folks and help them through everything, whether it comes to how to actually ride, or in this case, how to help with fundraising. So, feel free to always ask any questions, or if you're on any of the Strava groups or Facebook groups or anything like that we have, feel free to reach out, and I'm sure somebody will have a great answer for you if you ever have any questions on anything. But within that participant resources page, a couple of things to look at is, if you haven't read it yet, there is a fundraising tips document, and a lot of the information in there talks about how to make your fundraising appeals to potential donors personal, and especially with an event like ours, where we have a lot of participants that are actually within the arboriculture and tree care industry. It does make it a little bit easier, because in theory, a lot of your potential donors will either be familiar with Tree Fund, or if they're not, they probably should be familiar with Tree Fund. So that helps. One of the things I did want to point out, which is actually perfect as far as timing on everything, is that we are in the month of August, we're doing our virtual Tour de Trees, and a lot of what the virtual Tour de Trees does is it's folks that are doing their own personal fun or fitness goals from home. So they are doing their own kind of goals, and they're promoting that throughout the month of August. And what we're doing is we're actually sending them different things that they can use to promote throughout the entire month. And a lot of that stuff we are sharing on our social medias. So our Facebook, our LinkedIn, and then depending on if it fits, on our Instagram and our threads and different things like that. So if it ever helps to look at those socials and help to share, that information, and then, like I said, trying to make that personal and seeing how it affects, anything that you're doing or why you're riding. Those are some things to look for, especially as we get closer to tour time. A lot of folks find that kind of sense of urgency when asking for donors. The donors tend to pick up on that as well. So. Other things that it'll talk about within that fundraising tips document is how to start and make some lists of folks that might be potential donors for you. I think Ben and Laurie in the past have talked about how to make lists that are kind of tiered, like the people that you would like expect to make a donation, the people that might be able to make a donation, the people that probably wouldn't, but you still know them well enough anyway, and then trying to prioritize different folks and how to send messages out that way. But it'll also talk a little bit about how to use the different email lists within the website, the Tour de Trees website, through your participant center, and being able to check off your donors that have either been contacted or have made a donation through that. That is an ability that has on that website. And then, like I mentioned, the last thing that it'll mention on there is focusing on people that either have a tie to the industry or a tie to what it is that you're doing specifically, especially for an event like ours. Like I said, a lot of folks should either know who we are already and should want to support that, I would hope, or also if they don't, then it should be something that they can be introduced to. So also on the fundraising page, there are different images and different things that you can either print or you can share, that'll definitely help within these last couple weeks if you haven't seen them. One of these is there are fundraising letter samples, different things that you can use either through email or through actual mail. We do have plenty of our riders do actually still use mail forms that they either hand out or they email to some of their donors that actually get mailed in with actual physical checks. I know that may sound a little bit odd since we have a website to do that, but there are still plenty of people out there who like to be able to make that donation with the actual check and actually write things down on there. There are some also informations on there about different ways that you can utilize social media and how you can create different kinds of posts that may that may attract different kinds of donors through that. One of the other things that we started creating in the last couple of years is something for your local bike shop. There is a poster on there where if you print that out, it actually has a space for you for you to write your name in. If you have a close relationship with your local bike shop, which I know a bunch of folks have, if they let you put that up, it might be a way to attract some donations through people that you may not even know, but other people who support the shop if they see information on there, for later. So, and then finally, something that's been more popular within the last couple of years is that we've been creating a email signature image, which for those of you who already potentially use it for work or for other things, it's just another image that says, "Hey, I'm writing." It's in every single one of your emails, and that will go out to either your more casual contacts or anyone that is even more business related, depending on if you can use it for your your business email as well. So that's another thing that's we've seen be a lot more popular, and in a lot of cases you can link that to your page there. So I know James got a question.
Well, it's more of an idea or comment.
Yeah.
Sorry, my camera's off. I'll turn it on quickly.
So,
I'm actually in Columbia, South Carolina right now. But something I did recently that worked well is I sent postcards from the site where I was working. So we took photos and sent them out the same day. So I don't know if we get our jerseys on day one, if we took like a group photo, found a print shop and make postcards to send out the same day. A lot, depending on where you send them to, by Friday, people will receive them. They really like handwritten mail, or people really appreciate handwritten letters.
for sure, yeah. And yes, we do take a
more than an email or a LinkedIn post. I'll put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't know about you, but I get plenty of emails in the morning when I wake up that I just have to go through and delete. So I know that's the email is not always not always something that's going to be seen unless you get your name on it. Absolutely. Yeah, good
Yeah,
thought.
I know Steve Geist
I know a
always.
print shop in Greenville.
I know
Cool.
Steve Geist always sends out handwritten notes for all of his donors, and he's kind of old school, but they I think he gets a lot of good response with that as well.
Yep. He does. Yeah, always it's usually the bulk of the mail that I get in is usually stuff for Steve. All right. And then just kind of moving on, real quick, as we were talking about, ways that we can, talk to different potential donors, as far as fundraising. And I'll turn it over to Ben in just a little bit to go over this a little bit more. But some things to highlight is that Tree Fund is a nonprofit organization with fundraising going towards the different grant scholarship programs that we have available. And there is information both on the website and within those documents I mentioned before about what Tree Fund is and some of our different programs. So especially as Ben will get into, different information can definitely help when talking to folks because once they hear that it's for a nonprofit, that sometimes just kind of clicks something in their brain where it makes it work out. And then, other things to highlight is programs to protect trees and urban forests. Using those kind of words and those kind of verbiages, to create that kind of emotional connection, not just to the person that's writing, but also to the organization, and also saying things about like protecting the workers that are out there, since Tree Fund does have several grants that deal with safety, and then also mentioning about the history of the organization. Things like over $6 million granted out since 2002, which Tree Fund has done, and we actually just crossed that mark just earlier last year. With that, what the kind of things to highlight, I'll turn it over to Ben to go over some other tips, a little more specific.
Yeah, hey everybody, good afternoon. Thanks for being on here. Yeah, like Jonathan said, we're just trying to get the juices flowing, get some, different ideas maybe you guys haven't thought about, or maybe it's something that you have and you want to kind of revisit. But I mean, like the non-industry donors, I think a lot of the things that Tree Fund does, a lot of people don't really know about, and it's hard to relate if they're not in the industry. If they have choice to donate to Cancer Society or something like that might hit home, it might be a little different than trees. So I mean, that's something to kind of think about. But I think just like let them know, hey, what Tree Fund does. The scholarships, the grants that we give out. Maybe they got a scholarship when they were in college and that kind of meant something to them. They want to give back or something like that, and if you can kind of make that personal connection with someone, and I think that can go a long way. And then, friends and family, that's a huge thing. I mean, I don't send it out to every single person that I know, but, people that I know that know I'm passionate about trees and know that I cycle, and maybe other cyclists, they'll give you $20 here, $50 here, $100 here, all that adds up. So I think that, don't be afraid to ask folks, because really for one person to give you $20, it's a lunch, or something like that. But, all that stuff kind of just adds up. So, and then, why do people want to donate to this? I mean, I think just kind of spreading the word and getting the information out there, goes a long way. And then Jonathan, when you go hit the next slide, and then like the industry donor. So most of us are probably in the industry. I know there's some folks that do this ride that aren't in the industry, and I think it's a little bit more difficult for those folks because they don't quite have those connections, with the industry. But like Jonathan said, most industry folks should at least have heard of the Tree Fund. I mean, I'm the Tree Fund liaison for the Rocky Mountain chapter, and every year I do a little bit of a spiel about the Tree Fund, and I always get like a raise of hands of like who's heard of the Tree Fund. Most people have at least heard of the Tree Fund, but not everybody knows exactly what Tree Fund does. So maybe just a little bit of education and getting those folks in, and realize, that, how do these grants help impact our industry as a whole, and how does the tree fund help their work? I mean, one example is just, like one of the tree fund research projects is actually how we found out that, hey, you're not supposed to plant trees 6 inches deep like we used to plant them. And I know some folks still plant trees too deep, but at least we know better now. And some of that research was done from a tree fund grant, years ago, that, it's basically industry standard now, and everybody should know how to do that sort of thing. And then some of the other like local nonprofits, I think if you have like a tree board or other environmental groups that you might have connections with, I mean, even though they're a nonprofit, doesn't mean that they can't help support us. Like with the Colorado Riders, we have a organization called Colorado Tree Coalition, which is a local nonprofit, and they give money to tree fund riders every year to kind of help support us in our efforts. So there might be some organizations out there you can reach out to, and it's a good networking thing too, to kind of get involved. And then the webinars, most of you know about the tree fund webinars, but that is a free webinar to everyone. Heath usually does a spiel at the beginning about, hey, this is how you can donate, and some people do donate, but if they're just donating to the tree fund, just kind of through the webinar, it might not be as personal to them if they know a rider and they're like, oh, I'm donating to help this person, raise their fundraising amount. So something to consider there. And yeah, I think that's all I've got for now. I do have some other things once Laurie goes, but I'll pass it on to Laurie.
Yeah, so I work for Davy Tree, but I'm not a tree person. I'm a finance person. So I'm kind of like right in the middle of, I'm surrounded by tree people, but I can't, if I go to a fundraiser for people start asking me what tree to plant, like I got to point them in another direction. So, and a lot of my donations really come from kind of at a similar, like they're similar to me. They're tree people, but they may or may not actually be doing much with trees. So I think, probably both what I've heard from Jonathan and Ben, in summary, send it to a lot of people, send different messages to different groups. Ben sort of talked about, you have the industry people and then you have the non-industry people. My pitch probably is different every year. I take a very personal approach. And if you've been doing this long enough, I would say for people who have been doing this for a while, donor fatigue is a thing. I love the idea of, the postcards. It's a great idea. Do something different. Everybody's getting emails. My biggest challenge and I'm the one sending the emails. I do an email campaign every year. Depending on the success of the email campaign, sometimes I get that money raised in a couple of days, to be fair. And some days I'm sending reminders. It's not too late. We're getting to that point that within a couple of weeks, where my email for the people who haven't donated, that I kind of expect to donate, is at this point, I'm getting a lot of like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do that. When's the deadline? So my basic response to that is all the cool kids are doing it. You don't want to get left out. And now is a great time. Paul, do you have a question? So Paul, there's so many Pauls. Paul Buck.
No, I just had a comment Laurie, I've been doing, this is only my third, but I have one that's kind of friends. Like you said, I'm switching messages, but my corporate one, do not be afraid. I threw out $500. Do not be afraid to ask for a big amount, because they can't give you it if you don't ask for it.
Yep,
so I threw out my corporate one,
yep.
And I got 3 people through their company who gave $500 within like an hour. So
that's
don't
fantastic.
be afraid. It's nice to get those $20, and you have to, like you said, limit it to your different audiences. But don't forget that those big corporations, you could say 1,000 if they only give you 500, great. But and I was afraid to go to 500 or 1,000. I thought, 500, because I can take the zero off and then it goes 50 for my friends. So, you know, I thought 500 sounds great, and I should have probably asked for 1,000 because they gave it to
Well,
me so quickly.
next year
So
you'll know, right? You'll be back next year.
yeah, so just for the newbies, don't be afraid to, don't
Yeah,
think
and
that 50 is too much, or put it out there, because they may be able to do more than you guessed.
yeah, and I think for the new folks doing this, I don't know, for all the people who aren't new, uh, the fundraising for me was much more intimidating than the ride. Um, Especially that first time, because you're hesitant. Um, the worst they're going to do is delete my email. I think in all of the years that I've sent these out, I only had one person who came back and said, please never, ever send me another one of these emails ever again. I did take them off the list. The worst thing's going to happen is they're going to delete the email. For me, the worst thing, it's getting them to open the email. So I spent a lot of time. I almost waited too long this year, right, Jonathan? I spent a lot of time formulating. I like to write. I like to have the pitch. The pitch is a little different every year. In mine, the last 2 years have been. Last year was kind of humorous. I think it's still posted out on the resource page.
It
Top
is,
five
yes.
reasons why you would want to contribute to the ride. This year was a very personal appeal. And depending on how personal it is, it goes to more. And to this year, it's like, well, I did it to less people, and I counted, and I think 80 people got that email. So I'm not afraid to cast a wide net. And because mine is a personal appeal, you never know how that's going to land. This year landed very well. I got bigger donations than I've ever gotten. I don't know. It's so you don't know. So I do have backup appeals every year in case I need them. Something in the back pocket. I'm not afraid to, for people like for the 70 people I sent it to, I probably won't do reminders for everybody. But there's a core group of people that do tend to donate every year who I haven't gotten their donation yet. I have hit my minimum, which strangely enough sometimes discourages people from donating. So like, she's good. I chase it anyway. I think during the tour, the idea of the postcard sending out day one, fantastic idea. There isn't a better opportunity to do a last minute appeal than when we're out there riding our bikes. So that's a great opportunity. I got a cat playing with cords. Anybody's got cats around dinner time, it's a thing. So they weren't planning on the comic relief, but they get very antsy around 4. And different appeals to different groups. So if you have family, that appeal might be different. Professionally, I do get a lot of non-free people who work at Davy. I don't want to brag, probably the best company match game in town. Davy does not do an automatic match, but we do offer up to $500 people can match. And the minute I get a donation, they have because I have the ability to do it, a pre-filled form that all they have to do is sign it. And I already have the email ready, thanking them for their donation, how important it was to me, how important it is to me. And just one last thing, and that's been really effective for me. And if your company itself doesn't offer a match, if you're getting contributions from people who work in other companies, ask them for the match. And again, the worst thing they're going to do is say no. At Davy, you have up to 500 to match. Some people use that match for other stuff, so the answer is no. And broad net, man. I think send it and be creative. So at this point in the game, a lot of it is probably postcards. I love that. Emails, letters. Group rides. So I just recently started riding with a new bike club just because I moved, and they have a very active bike club that mostly does bike rides during the day. So I can't ride with them often, but I'll ride with them on the weekend. I don't leave home without a Tour de Trees jersey. I might as well be tattooed and branded. And if you're with other cyclists and you're wearing a cool jersey, somebody's going to ask you about that jersey. For you new riders, you don't have them yet. You just have to trust me on that one. But riders, especially if you're a new group, their first question, they want your resume, right? Number one, do you really belong in this group? The slow group's up back there, the fast group's back up there. And we talk about rides we do. And you're probably not getting your $500 from those folks, but if you walk away with $100 after that ride, I've done, and this is when things get desperate and I get more creative. I've done at the local bike shops, they're fading away, sadly, at least in Ohio. They're getting harder and harder to find. But if you have a local bike shop that you can work with, if you're doing rides out of there, I've done cookouts. So just do a group ride, and then, for it's always better if somebody else is donating, by the way, because you can lose your butt on this stuff. But if somebody else is willing to donate some hamburgers and whatever, everybody loves talking about the rides they do. Courtney, did you have your hand up?
No, I think she just came in.
Oh, okay. So again, I've had people who've raised money to do, the whole ride across America with spaghetti dinners. Again, all of that kind of stuff. You gotta be a little careful if you're putting money out to get money in. I've done 12-hour indoor events at Davie in 2018. People like to watch you suffer. And even on a more personal note, if you're riding right now, hopefully we're all riding right now, but if you're doing an organized ride, I'm going to call Maggie Volchko out on this one. We just did 100 miles in Indiana. We had some great, not we didn't, but somebody else took some really great pictures. Those are a great opportunity to those people who you think you're going to hear. They love hearing about what you're doing. If you're doing a triathlon, they love hearing about that stuff. They're not doing this stuff. And you throw it out there like, oh, again, it's these last minute appeals. I'm still training. I'm going to ride all these miles so you don't have to, is one of the things that I often do in the last minute appeals. And what you're doing to train for the ride, the 100 miles with the adorable picture, to be fair, of, Billy and Oakley. Maggie, if that doesn't get you up to your minimum, I fear for our whole society. That personal touch, again, triathlons, a lot of you people are triathletes. 100-mile rides you're doing, group rides. People aren't riding their bikes 60 miles. People aren't riding their bikes 100 miles. They might be amazing people. They think what we do is absolutely unbelievable from a personal perspective. And we have the tree tie-in, and we're doing this for the trees. So that's all stuff that has worked for me and continues to work for me.
Yep. And Laurie, and you actually brought up two really good points that I wanted to touch on, and one of them was something that Paul kind of mentioned as well there. First of all, having fun with it, but also potentially having fun with those numbers sometimes. Like if you are going to ask, say something like, it's my 45th birthday this year. Why don't you donate $45 to my campaign for my birthday, or doing something like that where you can kind of tie that in and have a little bit of fun with either the word play or the just something that's going on that maybe makes sense within there. But also you had mentioned and maybe other people can speak to some of their experiences as well. But during the tour week, hopefully, I know most of us like to try to have our fundraising stuff done by the time we arrive. But the window is open during the week. So has anyone seen anything about what you can put out there or ask during the week, either sharing photos or anything like that that has worked well for those who may still have just those last couple dollars to do, and what kind of information they can put out using the photos from the week or the experience from the week.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't know what everybody else's experience is. Social media, man, I just don't do well with social media. I mean, I get a little bit, and I don't even think I had a formal post after I did 140 miles in Calvin's Challenge, and I threw something out there, and I got one. I think that's the second or third I've ever gotten. I've just never been all that successful. But Tour Week, those same pictures that we're posting and that are available are effective for my follow-up emails. So I do use those, but not so much on the social media. And to be fair, maybe I should. I could be the next new influencer. I could give up the gig I got. But we have the resources out there, and even though your fundraising might be done as far as you've hit your minimum, it's fun to get up that leaderboard. There's apparently some friendly competition between Ben and I, but we were neck and neck, and somebody got an extra $50. So it's going to be a celebrity death match between me and Ben to try to raise those dollars, because every dollar counts, and of course everybody has to hit their minimum, which is the first major milestone. But once you hit that minimum, there's nothing that says you gotta stop raising money. I'm sure Tree Fund would be very appreciative if you would continue to support the event. And then you have people to go back to next year, because again, at some point, these people I'm now going back to after year 10, I'm getting, the well is getting pretty dry and getting creative to just get them to open the email. I'm going to steal a postcard idea next year. I think I really like that, because it gets hard to get them to open the email. Once I get them to open the email, then it's, did I hit it on the message? I have one donor every year who says, but this is the last year. And then every year he's like, you got me to open it again. And, it's not the biggest donation, but he begrudgingly gives me one every year. It's going to be the last one. He told me again this year. So you got to up your game on the creativity. And again, it's different for different audiences. I've gotten to the point that I can kind of just do one, depending on the message.
Yeah, a couple of points that Laurie brought up too is you can also increase your minimum on that fundraiser site. So if you started with that 3,700, I think it's just the default. As you start getting close to that, like Laurie said, people hesitate to donate more. It's like, oh, they already hit their minimum. They don't need any more. So I kind of up mine to 5,000, and then once I get close to that, I might up a little bit more, and kind of just keep that target moving. I think that helps. And then also, a couple of other things, like Steve Geist actually created a QR code, which that might be something that would be cool.
Yeah.
And it's a QR code that's unique to my fundraising page. So that'd be something easy to put on a postcard when you send out. That way people don't even have to type anything in. They just click the QR code. It goes right to your link, and that's an easy thing. And a couple other things. One that I'm actually trying this year, so I don't know if it works or not, but we have a neighborhood newsletter, and I'm putting in a little blurb, because we can put in ads where people put in classifieds and stuff like that, and I'm basically putting free tree advice for a suggested donation to the Tree Fund. So I'll report back and see how that works. But I'm just basically ask a few questions like, do you know what kind of trees you have on your yard? Do you know, are you thinking about doing a xeriscape or planting new trees or that sort of thing? Just kind of give some advice to neighbors, and if they donate $50 or something like that, that all helps. And I know Jason, he's on the call. I know a couple of years ago when they had a big storm in his neighborhood, everybody had brush piled up in their yards, and he kind of did the same thing that I'm doing, but he had a dump trailer and he has his own tree business. So he was like, hey, I'll come and clean up your yard, haul your stuff to the dump for a suggested donation to the Tree Fund too. So there's other kind of different ways of looking at things. If there's other sort of volunteer things that you could do, and just say, hey, I'll do this for free, but if you want to help me out, give a little a donation to the tree fund. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. There's a lot of different creative ways out there. So
Yep.
anybody
Use
else
your-
have some ideas they want to share?
One year
I was just
had,
gonna,
oh,
No, we'll
so
go.
I was just gonna chime in. I just got an email back from we have like a 64 home HOA, and I really don't like HOAs, but the secretary said, "Hey, give me your, as you called it, blurb or your script, and I'll send it out to the neighborhood again, because I don't know everybody here. It's kind of split east west, and I know the people on my east side, but in the past, like, I don't want to go do removals for people or like something that I could make real money on, but we've had gamble oak borer come through our area pretty bad, and everybody's got these piles of really manageable. Like, I could get my 13-year-old to help if I really wanted to push things, but it's like, go up, trailer, load it in. It's usually a pretty easy $50 donation. If I can get 20 houses to do that, I'm pretty happy. And we have a limb recycle site in our county where I can take it for free. I mean, it's really just a fuel cost for me, which is not that bad. So I like Ben's idea though of like maybe a tree inventory, or talking to people who are thinking about changing their yards up and how they're not thinking about how that could impact their trees and what they can do to keep their mature trees, or maybe add different species as well. Like, just, there's a lot of people that get paid to talk and disseminate information, and why shouldn't it be us? So anyway, I ramble. You guys will learn that, all you new people. I ramble a lot.
No, appreciate it anyway, Jay. No worries. Any
All right.
other as we're finishing up on some things, any other either questions about how to be creative, how to just kind of do any other your last fundraising things? Any questions about the tour, since we're all on here, since we have so many new folks that we might be able to answer? We're happy to do that as well. So anything else that we can help out with today? Anybody?
go back to examples. One year I had people pledge for miles. And then what I did is, while I was on the ride that day, I would take whatever, if they pledged mile 32 through 40, I would group that first 60 miles and I would send them at least one picture during that day of my ride, of something I saw, something that was funny, hard, whatever. And does that it didn't help me get some of them back? I don't know, but it was making that connection that I didn't just ask for your money and you're never going to hear from me again. I don't know how I'll do it this year. I mean, I'll probably just send pictures to everybody every day, but it was just a way to keep that connection going, because I know how sometimes I get that letter. I donate. I get a prepackaged thank you, which is nice. And I do that to all my donors, but then they never hear from me again, or I don't hear from them again until the next time they need more money. So just thinking about that as, hey, even if I don't get it from them this time, sending those updates with that picture. Here I am smiling or sweating, or here's the gorgeous sunset that this year I'm worried about mountains, because in Minnesota there's no altitude and there's really I can't train for that. So it's going to be interesting. And a lot of people have said, good luck. I hope you suffer. And those are my friends. So
Well, and you did touch on something else there as well. A lot of our riders, and I think any of our veteran riders that are on here will back me up on this statement. A lot of our riders are shutterbugs, and they will take those opportunities to take all of those beautiful pictures, not just to document like where we're going and who they're riding with and what they're doing, but also, yeah, just to use as thank yous to your donors, and showing them during the week, like, this is what you donated donated to and all the different things we're doing, especially if you're able to get some photos of some of our events and our tree plantings and things like that. Those are always the great things that just show off, more than the writing.
And the thank yous are really important, because that's you're all going to be back next year, and you're going to be glad that you sent that thank you, right? Because they didn't just send the check. And again, my thank you is give me a match form back. But during the tour, it's a great opportunity. That one special moment you have on day one or day two, one of the many you're going to have, throw it in an email, a postcard, some sort of thank you. And that does help you next year. Because it's and I think that's true whether it's a professional donation or a personal donation, but that you're making that personal connection that does make it easier next year to go back to that same person. So the thank yous are very important, and thank yous during the tour while you're in the heat of the moment. Paul struggling up a hill. Hill repeats on a highway overpass. That's about you're out there for you flatlanders. But all of that, again, it just helps then next year too, because as you get, those early years for me, it is a big ask, and it's terrifying. And every year I'm like, oh my God, am I going to make it? And every year I do. There are just some years I work harder for it. And just ask. All of the ideas are great. Just execute on them, and don't be afraid to ask. The worst thing you're going to get, again, in all of the thousands of people I've reached out to, I've gotten one person who says, please never again. They don't apparently like my heartfelt messages. Worst thing that's going to happen is they're just not going to respond, or they're not going to give you a donation, or they're going to delete your email or throw away your postcard. Going to be the very worst that happens.
Yep.
But it is for me. That was the hardest thing, because I think year one I probably didn't reach out to 20 people and was terrified before I hit the send button. Now I have it all in a mail merge and send it instantaneously to this year 70. I think last year was 150, depending on what the message is.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to just kind of end everything. Is try again. Just like when you're getting on your bike, just keep getting on it and keep on pedaling. Right? kind of the
Keep
same
pedaling.
attitude that you have.
Just
Just keep
keep pedaling.
pedaling. I guess with that, that's 3:45. So that was about what we wanted to slot in for that, to make sure we didn't take up too much time or anything. But if anybody has any questions, want to stick on, we'll stick around for a little bit and just kind of answer other questions too. But for those who might have to jump off, I think that's good. We'll see you in a month and a week, actually, from today officially, if you go by the dates of the calendar. But as always, feel free to always reach out with any questions, and we always have folks that are willing to help and answer some questions for you. So I'll be around for a little while longer. But besides that, everybody enjoy the rest of your weeks.
And I can't wait to see everybody in 5 weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And thanks very much, Laurie and Ben, for jumping on and helping with this. Very much appreciated.
This was really helpful. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for all the info, guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Oakley.
See you guys in a few weeks.
We'll be there.
Hey, Jonathan, I did have one question.
Yes.
On the there's two different, like for the amount raised, the app Good Move, I think it's called, the amount raised for me is different than what's on the web page. Which one is, I'm not sure why there'd be a difference in that.
I don't know why the Good Move app shows anything raised on there. That's the Good Move app is just for distance tracking. They have some way that they talk to each other. They don't talk to each other very well as much as you think that they should, being from the same company. But no, the amount raised on there, I would pay less attention to that. The amount that's raised on your fundraising page. It's actually shown on the tortoiletrees.org is the one that actually gives us the correct information. It might even be something where if you had some offline donations or something, it wouldn't show up on the Good Move app because it's probably something different. So
I think if I'm not mistaken, the Good Move app probably shows you a little higher.
Yeah, it's for me, it's about $1,000 more than the
wow.
webpage.
Yeah, mine's
And
like 100. So I thought for mine, I don't know. What do I know? But I thought it probably tacked on my registration fee. And perhaps those odd amounts when people say cover the cost of the administrative cost, that $3 here, $5 there, whatever it is. I was thinking maybe that was it, $1,000. I don't know.
Yeah, but that well, and actually, if you have 100 and he has 1,000, that might actually be exactly what that is. It might be the registration fees because with the registration fee being $100, and then if you got a single room, that would be 1,000 altogether. That's where that would come from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just adding stuff in there that doesn't really count towards the actual fundraising.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Thanks, Frank. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here. You guys take care. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
absolutely.
Yep. Soon.
Can't wait.
Thank you all for doing this. I thought we got a nice group on here. It's a good conversation.
I saw 17, I think. So that's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Ben, I'm going to be watching your fundraising page, and I'm going to have my minimum $1 more than yours.
There you go.
I like it.
I'll have to look and see who gave me the $50. I don't even remember seeing the email for that.
Yeah, I just went on there today. So it's like I was kind of gonna open up like, oh yeah, we're neck and neck because we were right. We're at this. I mean, I think it was I think I might be at $1 more than you, 99 cents or something. It was some weird amount, or we're right. I mean, we were right. Like so